Welcome, dear friends, to the live version, a live stream version, as we broadcast live on our various Facebook and X and YouTube platforms. We say welcome to you and yours. Hearty hello and Ohio Silver. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your liking us. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for being there. Thank you for your subscribing. It turns out that a scant, a de minimis, a veritable nothing, a 80-something% of those individuals who watch our videos don't even subscribe. So we thank you when you do. It is critical that you do, because those metrics help us to put us into the HOV lane of recognition and the like. First of all, the John Bolton raid. Perspective, ladies and gentlemen, perspective. What does this mean? Everybody's excited. Everybody's thrilled. I'm sort of excited. Sort of. I'll explain to you why. It turns out that FBI agents executed search warrants at former NSA advisor John Bolton's Maryland home and D.C. office, and apparently a renewed investigation into potentially mishandled classified documents. Is this payback? You betcha. Is it tit for tat? You betcha. You got a problem with that? I don't. The inquiry, spearheaded by FBI Director Kash Patel, revisits apparently allegations dating back to Bolton's 2020 memoir, and centers on whether he improperly retained or transmitted sensitive material. No charges or arrests followed the raid, and he remains under scrutiny, not cleared or absolved, but under scrutiny. As you can imagine, people are thinking, oh, this is terrific. I'm saying, well, that's okay, but that is not enough. As you know, my friends, a search is just the beginning. Greg Lake said it best. This is Bobby Lamb from Chicago said, only the beginning. And by the way, happy birthday, Jimmy Pankow, August the 20th. A search is just the beginning. It's not the end of anything. Ransacking someone's home may look dramatic, but without charges, indictments, and court battles, it's just noise. Compare it to what they did to our good friend Roger Stone. Look at that one. It's noise. They arrested him. He was charged. He was facing prison were it not for the intervention and the justice exhibited by President Trump. A warrant raises questions. It doesn't deliver justice. So don't get too excited about this. As you know, people in our neck of the woods tend to overreact and underreact. Equal liberation requires equal standards. The 14th Amendment says equal justice under the law. If John Bolton, it's still part of the deep state. If he is now under the microscope, the same legal lens must flip towards Hillary Clinton and others who remain steadfastly in opposition to President Trump and our liberty, and who remain untouched despite similar allegations. Selective enforcement, in this case, it works both ways, looks like partisan persecution. You've got to keep going. Let me remind you of something. It has only been about 14. I put this up for you, my friends. A little bit of a reference point here. This is, I think, kind of sort of interesting. It seems that we are right now. Today is the 215th day of President Trump's second term, and he is looking at that of a total of 1,461 days. So he has been in office 14.7%. Question number one: are you satisfied with the rate of things going? Are you satisfied? Maybe if Kash Patel and Don Bongino and Pam Bondi would stop going on Fox News, because apparently that's their thing. People just want to go on Fox News. They can't. It's an addiction. They want to go on Fox News. That's all they want to do. They want to go on Fox News. Well, I don't think that cuts it for me. Going on Fox News is not what I have in mind. That's not justice. Now, I don't know what you've been futzing around with, but this is too slow. This is dragging. We want equal justice. And Bolton, seriously, John Bolton, this starts to smell like a limited hangout. It's like you're throwing this out just to appease me. Bolton is now great, he's under the microscope, but we're going to forget about this. It's just a law. It's just a search warrant. What is this? What is really happening? Let me ask you something. Are you at all happy with what's happening? Who right now? Who says? Someone writes, "I'm satisfied with." You're satisfied with Trump? You have low aspirations. If you think Trump has been wasting his time with more nonsense than you can imagine, 200 days in this, he should have had this all prioritized. I don't know what he's doing. He's wasting our time with Israel, with Ukraine, and if you don't realize this, you're not paying attention. How are you satisfied with what's going on? What are you, some model? Listen, I love the guy. I don't want to go back to whatever it is. Are you? Don't be easily placated. Demand from him what he would demand of you. This is the apprentice. This is you're fired. This is get to work. I'm a tough businessman. Okay, hold him accountable. You're satisfied with this? Are you kidding? Tell me. What? You satisfied with what's happening with Epstein? Tell me what he's done. Tell me one major arrest. Tell me, other than that, those couple of judges, I guess, in D.C. and those were state judges. Tell me what he did that was so terrific. Tell me. You can't. Don't fall into this trap of being one of these glad handers. Don't be one of these Fox News yutzes, or even worse, the Newsmax crowd that sit back and just clap. I mean, they are just. Do you know what's happening here? Do you grasp it? Let me see if I can explain it to you. For the longest time, you have been in a coma. You have been stuck with your freedom. You're the. I saw this years ago. There was a picture of an elephant, and the elephant had a chain around its foot. Not hoof, but anyway, it's foot. And the chain was attached to a stump. So if the elephant tried to move, he felt the resistance of the stump. Eventually, they just put the chain around its neck, or around its foot, and it didn't move. It was so used to being confined, it just didn't move. It was so used to confinement, it didn't move. It was so used to confinement, it didn't move. You have been, for the longest time, you are living in a world where you think Fox News and maybe Newsmax, though I don't watch Newsmax, from what I see, it's like Fox Light or something. This is what you think it is. And you'll say things like, I like Pam Bondi. You like? I'm not talking about liking anybody. Are you satisfied? Who's satisfied with the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi and your Attorney General? Not Pam Bondi, your Attorney General. Who's satisfied? Who? Anybody? Anybody? What has she done? What has she done? Are you thrilled with what's going on in D.C.? What? What? What do you think? Are you, tell me, do you think that what's going on in D.C. is any, do you see any huge deportations? No. Do you see airlines? Do you see train cars and buses and boats and waving goodbye, where they are biometrically scanned so that if they come back, we know who you are. Are you getting Peter Thiel and Palantir to scan them all so that they can't come back, so that they are forever permanently marked? They don't want them permanently marked because there's a certain group of people who say this is our working base. You know, not everybody who comes here is part of some kind of criminal cartel. A lot of them are just workers. And you got a lot of companies who don't want the workforce to be diluted. So tell me, are they doing this? No. You're being thrown off by Pete Hegseth and Bobby Kennedy, who are like little boys doing pull-ups. And they're trying to give you this idea that this is virility, and virility is what you need. And somehow you're going to be satisfied because of the fact that Pete Hegseth is doing pull-ups and Bobby Kennedy is doing pull-ups and he's doing methylene blue. And this Yutz thinks that Soaking French fries in beef tallow is good for you. This is so I had to step back. I just turned it off. I'm on WABC Monday through Fridays, overnights, 1 a.m. to 5. It's the most incredible. It's where I started here in New York. I started in Tampa, WFLA. And I'm constantly waking people up there and saying, wake up. You've been, Rush Limbaugh, I loved the man, loved him and knew him well, is dead. It's dead. This is a new world. You do know this, right? There is a new world that is going on. And you have got to turn off cable TV and Fox News. There is a revolution that is going on right now. Streaming, internet, there is an awakening. Let me give you an example of a couple of things. First, we held a stranglehold. There was a stranglehold on us right at the time of COVID. Remember that? It was horrible, unbelievable. We couldn't say anything if you mentioned ivermectin, if you mentioned hydroxychloroquine. Now you would be deplatformed, demonetized. It was the most incredible thing anybody's ever seen. Nobody couldn't believe what we saw. Couldn't believe what we saw. It was incredible. Now, Elon Musk came in and freed Twitter, well, then X, freed it. How many of you are not on X? If you don't follow X, I still call it Twitter. Don't. I still say album anyway. If you do not use X, if you like Rumble, okay. Rumble to me is a little bit. I've got more of a stylistic problem, but Rumble's very good as well. YouTube, but if you don't at least get your news on what's happening on X, there is a multiplicity of people here that represent such a change I can't put into detail. Let me explain to you why. The biggest thing that is happening, you're probably unaware of it. For the longest time since I started in 1988, I started weekends, October of 1988 in, I guess, Tampa, at WFLA. That's where I started, right? Then, so this goes to show you how long I've been doing this. But the issue is, there were a couple of verboten things. Okay, there were a couple of verboten things that were said or not said or whatever it is. First, the thing that would get you you feared more than anything else was the F word or any of the other, not 7 dirty words, because 7 dirty words is a misnomer. People think that the Supreme Court actually said 7 dirty words. No, it was a George Carlin routine or riff it was working on. They did not officially address the 7 dirty words. They never did. They never wrote down, these are the words, no. But that was it primarily. It was FCC violation. Remember when Howard Stern came along? Howard Stern always was getting fined by the FCC. Best investment you had made. Look at me, the FCC. Oh, the FCC. Ooh, FCC now means nothing. Nobody cares about the FCC. Nobody cares about the FCC. Nobody cares about the FCC. The FCC means nothing. F, the N word, you can get by. Nobody's really fined anymore. Nobody, really, truly. It just never happens. What do you think gets you in trouble? After that, before the internet, because it was a different story. what was verboten was anything remotely, tangentially dismissive of, critical of Israel. Not Judaism. I mean, that would have been Israel. You had to be 100%. If you played it safe, whatever they did, it did. Not Jews, not American Jews, not Jewry, international. No, because a lot of most Jews are not even anywhere near Israel. They're from Brooklyn or from France or Africa. Anyway, it was just understood. And everybody, Fox, Newsmax, others, 100%, almost like satellite institutions. And you might agree with it. And we'll explain this in a moment. But it was the best thing to do was either you were 100% on board or you never said anything. That was it. Guaranteed. You were dead. And especially if you wanted to be a conservative. One of these conservative things, I don't know what they're called, but they were called the conservatives. Okay, fine. Now, I wasn't in school that day that there was a connection between, I know this may sound crazy. I know I'm going to laugh. You're going to laugh when I say this, but I'm going to say the truth. I was never in school the day they made a connection between Israel and Judaism. Italy and Catholicism. Vatican and Jesus. The Vatican and Christianity. The Shroud of Turin and Christianity. See what I'm saying? Washington, D.C. and America. The American flag and America. The Congress and America. Ronald Reagan and America. The two have nothing. One is a symbol, maybe, or is a tendon to something else. America. This, the most overused, hyped distraction. Remember Lionel's rule. There is an inverse proportionality between the American flag, lapel pin, and what they know about American history. And when I see the American flag and Israel flag, and Mogen David, the Israel, I think, whoa. Or the American flag and the Ukrainian flag, cross, is like, wait, whoa. Wait a minute. I have enough problem with the flag. I got problems with crucifixes and crosses and stars. And you never see a crescent. You never see Islam. It's a free country. You can do whatever you want. I think it's tacky. Just like I think the White House is tacky. Have you seen President Trump's office lately? What is that about? It looks like a Cracker Barrel gift shop. What is this? And outside with the umbrellas and the, looks like a food court at a Chipotle at a mall in Paramus. What is this? But you know what? It's my opinion. I'm not losing sleep over that. But just so that you know, you got it? I believe in the First Amendment. When it comes to religions, I am irreligious completely. I'm a retired Catholic, went to Catholic school, went from kindergarten, grade school, high school, Jesuits. I have nothing to do with Catholicism, Christianity, churches, a celebration. Nothing. I have as much to do with Christianity as I do Judaism. I'm irreligious. It's just like you might be with hip hop music, or maybe with French. I know nothing about French. I don't speak French. I don't know what French people are saying, but I know that they're speaking something, I think, and I've got no beef against them, but I don't have anything to do with French, and I don't understand French. I don't understand God and faith, and I don't understand any of that stuff. However, I have 100%, I have respect for you, meaning I don't mock you in your religion. I don't think you're stupid. Nothing. What you do in your religion is your business. It's up to you. And the First Amendment, because I'm I abide the Constitution and the First Amendment as an officer of the court, as a lawyer for 42 years, 42, 43. Absolutely. Judaism, I don't have to go through the history. I'm not a Holocaust revisionist. That's ridiculous. I never even thought about Judaism. Israel, the nation, Israel, the state, Israel, the country, Israel, the government, Bibi Netanyahu, the Likud, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, different story altogether. 1948, Balfour Declaration, 1967, 73. Go through the whole list, and we'll talk about that later. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to argue the point. What I'm saying is what I believe in terms of what Bibi is doing is the same as me saying what Zelensky is doing, or what Macron is doing, or what anybody is doing. And the fact that we have to keep talking about that. Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're after her. Now, for the most part, here's why this is important. I'm sorry for that introduction, but you must listen to me and you must pay attention, because what I'm saying is the truth. Up till now, AIPAC, which is the American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee, not Political Action Committee, but the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, in power since 1963. Actually, it was founded in 1951, but it was also called the American Zionist Committee. I don't want to get into this. Well, maybe one of the, but I would go on the limb here and say the number one most powerful lobby, bar none. Now, might be what might be even better? Big tech, big pharma's up there. Green lobby. The old days, the Second Amendment, the gun lobby was big. Not anymore. But anyway, you got it? Okay. You got it? And if you don't know this, you're not paying attention. If you don't know this, AIPAC owns everybody. And God bless them. Oh, big tech owns everybody. You'll never hear anybody say that. They never say, well, AIPAC owns Congress. Big tech. 501c3. Big tech. Look what they're doing regarding child trafficking. Look what they're doing regarding bots and AI. Oh, no. I'll put Altman rather. I'll put Palantir, Peter Thiel, Elon. So let me just say something. Let me see if I can say this again. Let me see if I can explain this again, because people don't listen to me. Israel owns Congress, but so do other factions as well. Brasileira Mia, our good friend Carla says, it's inculcated into the minds of very young children in Jewish settlings that the Jewish religion and the Israeli state are the same. Yes, absolutely. That is, as you know, Carla, and thank you, that is called, and you can please debate this at your leisure, Zionism. Okay? I can talk to friends of mine. I know some of this. I know some of the smartest people and people who are really, really loaded. And they don't know anything. They couldn't tell you. But here's the thing. What you want to teach your kids is up to you. If you want Jewish kids to believe that Israel is Judaism and vice versa, fine. This annoys me. There we go. Fine. If you want your kids to believe that being black is superior, fine. If you want to teach people that Brazilian music and Tom Jobim is the greatest form of musical, I'd probably agree with you 100%. You can raise, inculcate, indoctrinate, teach, proselytize, anything you want. That's okay. Let's make sure we understand this. What I'm telling you is that before we knew it, something happened. October the 7th. That's when it all changed. October the 7th. October the 7th. October the 7th. That's what changed. October the 7th. October the 7th was 9/11. October the 7th. 2023 too. Changed everything. Changed everything. Now, I can sit here and I will, in case you've never heard me before, in the rarest of finders, in the rarest of events, at Lionel Nation, on other platforms, and on X and others, I am telling you, I will discuss with you the possibilities, but I do not say things occur unless I know them to be true. I give you postulates, hypotheticals, theories, hypotheses, but unless I know it, I'm not going to tell you that, okay? I'm not going to tell you about October the 7th. Did they know about it? Did Mossad know about it? How did they not know about it? Was this a false flag? Was this and this? Where did Hamas come from in 2005? Was it before? Was it didn't Ariel Sharon do this? Weren't they paid? Did the money come from Qatar? I'm not gonna, you know what? Everything you have, you can spend on ChatGPT, Grok, anything you want. Get the great. You have the greatest history that's available. And if you do not abide by that, if you do not take advantage of that, you're wasting your time. I'm not going to fill you in on things that I'm telling you. October the 7th changed everything. Up till now, there were rumblings. There were people who, yes, and I'm not going to spend too much time. There were people who hated Israel. Some people who I think maybe less than number, maybe there's some who just hated Jews or Judaism. Okay, they were there. And for the longest time, they thought that since 1948, the whole occupation and settler colonialism and blah, 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 and 1967 and Balfour Declaration and West Bank, they never let up. Fine, they're over there. And they were pretty much, it never really broke through here. Congress never talked about it. People never talked about it. When Fox News acknowledged it, that's it. It's over with. Years ago, there was a story, if you remember from my generation, it was a fellow named Walter Cronkite. And Walter Cronkite purportedly, theoretically, and allegedly said, during his famous commentary regarding the Tet Offensive, it inspired Johnson to allegedly say, if I've lost Cronkite, I've lost Middle America. Okay. Maybe he said that. You're seeing now follow me on this. I know this is a lot of people are saying right now, I don't know what you're talking about, because unfortunately in America, or fortunately, you don't have to know anything about anything. You really don't. You do not have to know anything about anything. You have to know anything about anything. You can just say whatever, USA Today and a little bit of history, and I'm fine, okay, fine. Whatever. It's everybody has their own thing. Brasileira mia, our good friend Carla says, events such as the 2 dates you recall were not mere coincidence, but carefully arranged by those none would suspect. Their hidden purpose has endured for decades, quiet yet unbroken. Indeed, as to the 2 dates, maybe 9/11, I know October the 7th. What was the other date? 9/11? 9/11 we'll talk about also. But we don't know. I mean, I don't know. You probably know more than I do. All I know is what I know. All I know is at first it went like this. 100% in favor. Israel had 100%. And then little by little, something happened. Something happened. Gaza. Gaza changed. You say Gaza now, people. You don't think, oh, those are those ingrates who were given everything and the hot houses. No. Gaza today. And then the most boneheaded thing ever was when Jared Kushner says, yeah, we've got open oceanfront property. And oh my God. All right, so that's changed. Cut to the chase. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, Piers Morgan, Tucker Carlson, Charlie Kirk, a little bit, are finally saying, is it okay? Yeah. Now they're coming out and they're speaking out for the first time against what is happening to the Palestinians in Gaza. Oh my God. OMG. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Megyn Kelly, Piers Morgan makes Geraldo Rivera look like Niels Bohr. Piers Morgan, the thing is, the coast is clear. Next. So this is so huge, you have no idea. Enter two, and no particular reasons for this. No, two cataclysms. And most of the stuff I'm saying, most of you, I don't think you're going to recognize it, but it's okay. It's okay. Remember, I'm in New York City. Hell's Kitchen right now. Beautiful 71 degrees. A beautiful day. In the Bronx. At an apartment house that they know, in an area, hip-hop rap was born. You could argue the days, 70, whatever. Anyway, but there were hints of it. It changed the world. And at the time of hip-hop, some people in the business said, everything's changed. Everything has changed. The world has changed. And they said, you are out of your mind. This sounds like crap. Greg Allman said rap is short for crap, right? They said, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. The world has changed. And nobody saw it then. In 1964, the Beatles. It didn't seem like much to a lot of people, a lot of adults. They didn't understand what happened. Since 1953-63, it was a fundamental precept, an absolute indelible, bolted down plank of the conservative platform that you must exhibit 100% fealty to the state of Israel. Whatever they did, anything. And most of the time it was, remember the first intifada, second intifada, all this stuff. You would say, oh my God, this is horrible. But whatever they did, doesn't matter. And whatever happened to those Gazans, God damn it, they asked for it. Because this was Hamas, and they voted in Hamas. And you were told this narrative. And the narrative never okay, that's cracking. And within AIPAC, nobody ever heard of that. Now there's AIPAC ratings, and you're going to see who is who. And Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio. Do you ever wonder why Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, is nowhere to be seen? Why? Because Lutnick and Witkoff are probably, but Lutnick's doing the work. Witkoff, rather, is doing a lot of the work. Why? Because Marco Rubio, his political, his wherewithal told him, go out of your way and be as, I don't want to say grossly, but as exaggeratingly pro-Israel as anybody would ever imagine. Go ahead and do it, and you'll be just fine. And they said, are you sure about that? And he goes, oh, yes, don't worry. It will always be in. It will always be okay. It will always be. Are you sure about that? Oh, absolutely. Okay. You sure about that? Absolutely. All right. So anyway, now he's dealing with people from around the world. And Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, no into it. Now let me just explain. The President of the United States, Donald John Trump, God bless him, has absolutely taste for when it comes to people to pick. Pam Bondi, a wonderful person, great friend, Tampa's own, Tampeña, went to the same law school, knew her. We worked at the same state attorney's office. She is of an impeccable integrity, great person, absolutely outmatched, out of her league when it comes to the Department of Justice. Kash Patel, always frightened, has not a clue. Dan Bongino, get rid of this little boy so fast. Kristi Noem, who wants to be everybody's favorite sexy little DHS head with her little hair extensions in her cap, and here I am, and I'm on raids, and she's, ooh, Charlie's Angel. I mean, it's disgusting. This dingbat the other day actually said that her answer to what she would do regarding the wall and build that wall and protection of the border was, we're going to paint the wall black, because black conducts the heat, and it would be too difficult for people to climb. Meanwhile, there's pictures. Have you seen them? Mexicans are climbing this thing. I don't. They should electrify the fence, if anything. I mean, I don't even understand what's going on here. This is the president. He does these things. The Ukraine position, incoherent. Schizoid, schizoaffective, crazy, sheer, unmitigated, unabashed, unequaled lunacy. Why? Because AIPAC owns him. Let's see what happens, because let me tell you something. Trump's funny. Once he's done with you, he's done with you. He's just through. That's it. And he changes from moment to moment. You don't know what he's going to say. He really doesn't know what he just changes in a heartbeat. Okay. But NATO and the military-industrial complex, NATO was. I could take you to Times Square. Times Square is about 10 or so blocks over, right over there. Theater district, it's that way. And I can stand there with $1,000 in my hand and say, tell me what NATO is. If I ask you, what's NATO? You have no idea. No idea. Most people have no idea. As you can see, by virtue of these wonderful, great people, they love to say things and they love to speak in, and it's one of the hazards, if you will, of this particular medium, and that is that people speak in glyphs, orts, memes, phonemes, morphemes, little kind of a telegraphic, and without really. If you mention Israel, they'll say USS Liberty. Most people have no idea what you're talking about. What do you mean Liberty? If you talk about weather control, people will say, "Oh, HARP." They'll say that. They'll say all these things, and they don't really understand it. And most people don't understand what NATO is about, and what NATO was, what it is now, and why they're fighting. If you listen to, and I talked to people the other day who are they're very smart in some respects. Oh, they're great when it comes to investments and crypto, and they know everything. They do not understand. They think that Vladimir Putin is an animal. He's an evil guy. He's a bad guy. He's an evil guy. He's a bad, evil guy. Bad guy. Oh, he's so bad. So bad. Oh, he's evil. He wants somehow to, I don't know why, but he wants to reclaim and reconfigure and re-solidify and reorganize and reorganize, reestablish the Soviet Union. Now, I don't even know. I've got friends of mine who were not only Russian, but Hungarian. And I mean, they're laughing. Europeans are the average European. And I mean all of Europe. But we'll just, certainly Russia, certainly Germany, certainly people who have a little bit of history, a little sense of history, laughing hysterically. Soviet Union. Vladimir Putin said, anybody who, I'm paraphrasing, anybody who does not have in their heart any softness or fondness for the Soviet Union has no heart. Anybody who wants to go back anybody who wants to return to it has no brain. But the particular narrative is that this is he's evil. That Vladimir Putin is evil, and he's evil. And Melania Trump, bless her heart, I don't think she wrote any letter to anybody and handed it to Putin. Bullshit. Okay, pardon my friend. I think she knows better than that. She, especially Eastern European, she knows how this thing works. If you want to hand somebody a letter, hand a letter to Zelensky about what's happening to Christians, about what's happening to, and people say, oh, the anti-Semitism. I've got a friend of mine who says, but he's Jewish. He said, you don't understand this, do you? I mean, they really don't understand. They really don't understand anything. And there's no better place to hide out in the world than the United States. And when it comes to history, forget it. There was a thing here. I bought this. This is I got this at the dollar store. Now it's Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree. It was $1 then. Now it's $1.50. And this is a thing called a globe. When I was a kid, we even had it at Sacred Heart, St. Lawrence. We had a globe. We had this thing called geography. And I tell people, I say, okay, let me give you an example. I swear to you, the number of people who've never looked at a globe, I mean, never, ever. They have no interest in it. This is our side. See that? This is our side. It's pretty, that's it. We're here, North America, Canada, and there's South America and Central America, and that's it. Okay? That's our side. Pretty simple. Pacific, Atlantic, separated. Now, look at that. That's the other side. And that's where the action is. And you better really understand what's happening. Just look at that. Look at all that. Wow. Wow. Different countries, cultures, languages, histories. Used to be different and monetary units. Right next to each other. Right next to each other. This is it. This is it. Look at that. And if you bring this up to people and if I told somebody, point to Israel or point to Ukraine. Where is Ukraine? And not the Ukraine or the Ukraine. I don't know why they say that. But where is Ukraine in relation to Russia? They have no idea. They have no. Propinquity, adjacent geography. This is the most important critical thing there is. It explains everything. In 1962, those of my native Florida, they have this wonderful thing in 1962 where we had, of course, a thing called the Cuban Missile Crisis. And the Cuban Missile Crisis was very important because of a couple of things. First and foremost, the world was almost going to go to war. Why? Because the Russians had threatening, by the way, it really wasn't Cuba, but it was Turkey, but it's a different story. That there were missiles in Russia, 90 miles away. And Putin is talking about you are not going to have a NATO country, a NATO operative, a NATO satellite on my border. They've got this funny thing. They remember Napoleon and Hitler, and they got this funny thing about invasion. And in the 20th century, they went to, 3 revolutions? Forget it. Two revolutions and a civil war. Forget it. And of course, history, if you think we're bad regarding geography, history, Don't forget what Tolstoy said. History would be a wonderful thing if only it were true. History is decided by the winners. Napoleon said history is a myth that men agree to believe. You know, there's we don't learn history. We don't learn nothing. Because we Americans, we're lucky because we pretty much have a solid country. We added on. We took other people's land, but nobody came in. You don't have ethnic Canadians living. No. But when it comes to Putin's demands, 3. Number 1, the 4 oblasts. What's an oblast? What? Good luck with that one. All right. Whenever I talk to anybody, I'm sorry. I know it sounds like I'm being highfalutin, but I guess I am. I have to explain. No, that's not what happened. No, that's not what happened. No. An oblast. No, the 4 oblasts plus Crimea. He said, that's mine. And they want that, and you know that, and that's the way that's happening. That's it. Crimea, you're never going to get Crimea. This Catherine the Great. No. Don't forget what Ukraine is from Khrushchev and where it came and all this stuff. Don't forget the connection between Mussolini and the Vatican. Remember that one. Okay. Again, history. Nobody cares about. Nobody knows about that. We're too good. We watch Fox News. I watch Sean Hannity. I don't have to know anything about history. I got a lapel pin here. And my lapel pin says the United States, it's an American flag, and Israel, or maybe there's a Ukraine flag. There it is. I don't have to know. I'm an American. What do I have to know about history? What are you talking about? You keep talking about history. Okay. Number 1, the 4 oblasts plus Crimea. Number 2, NATO will never be a member of Ukraine will never be a member of NATO. And number 3, this is important, NATO will never be armed. Ukraine will never be armed. It'll end up a rump state, like a neutral rump state, like Austria or something. That's it. He has said this. He took office in 2000, 2008. Whenever I do something, there's an event I'm planning to go to, and I know what I'm going to do. There's always somebody who wants to challenge me. Wherever I go someplace, there's always somebody who wants to challenge me. A husband, a neighbor, a friend say, oh, I know who you are. I'm going to challenge you. And I don't get involved with it because I have to explain too much. Next, 2 of the most interesting people right now out of all of the people who are commentators. 2 people. Don't agree with everything they say, but I like their combative style. One is Laura Loomer, and the next is Nick Fuentes. 2 antithetical. Laura Loomer is 100% rabidly pro. Not pro Israel, but I mean, put it this way: AIPAC is like mild. She is against sending Gazan children, maimed, near dead amputees to our country for medical attention. I mean, this is hardcore. But that's not what I agree with. That's part of it. Nick Fuentes sometimes says terrible things. He might be, and by the way, anti-Semite, I think we all know, anti-Semite is the wrong term, but it's a word that, saying that people who say that, even Marjorie Taylor Greene says, my problem is with secular Israel. My problem is with secular Israel. My problem is with secular Israel. Okay, fine. You're not necessarily anti-Semitic. First of all, I know Semite's the wrong term, but anyway. You're not necessarily anti-Semitic if you're against Israel, yes, and you're not necessarily a racist if you say I don't like Obama. I know that, but this is a big step. They put their toe in the water. They're trying to get past this years of this blood-brain barrier between ever saying anything that's not 100% in glowing terms of Israel. So that's that. So you've got Laura Loomer, who's absolutely positively, she makes Bibi Netanyahu look like Norman Finkelstein, if you know the connection. And then you have Nick Fuentes, who is, he says things about black folks. He uses the worst terms. However, the message in some categories is impeccable. Two things that are happening in addition. Okay, so you got this so far? Israel's won. Never saw this one coming. Next, we are in the middle, my friends, of something called black fatigue. We are seeing something which is two movements. First of all, there was the woke DEI. DEI is not the message. It is ESG. ESG is the message. It is the message. ESG, not DEI. What's ESG, my friends? What's ESG? What is it? What is it? Anybody? That's the thing that's what motivates everybody. Anybody? ESG. What's ESG? Anybody? 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 ESG. 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 Anybody? Anybody? ESG. Oh, wait. Environmental, social governance. Thank you. Thank you so much. Finally, right. Thank you. Environmental, social, and governance. That's the word. DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. It's about ESG was the reason for this. ESG was a reason that Bud Light went crazy with that stupid Dylan Mulvaney stuff. Remember that? That was ESG. Environment, social, governance. This is this weird. So what happens is simply this. Environmental, social, and governance. This ESG. You would get a particular rating. So what happens is, let's say you own a stock, whatever it was, and they come to you and they say, listen, I'm BlackRock, Vanguard, blah, 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 BlackRock, Blackstone, Black this, Black, blah, blah. If you don't do something immediately to embrace, to grab, to espouse certain ESG ideologies and the like, you are going to really, really lose big time. And what do you mean? You better do it. So that's why they would do it reluctantly. I don't think Bud Light really wanted to change, but they did. So they did it to be ostentatious and obvious in their acceptance of this. So anyway, so they came along and they did it. Cracker Barrel is the latest one. You know who else is coming in? Steak and Shake is the anti. You notice that? Steak and Shake is really, by the way, those of us I remember Tampa, Steak and Shake, take home a sack. Oh, Steak and Shake I always thought was superb. Fries were thinner, but Steak and Shake there was one on Fowler, one on Dale Mabry. Steak and Shake was it growing up. Now Bobby Kennedy embraced them with his nonsense about beef tallow and whatever. Anyway, so they're now becoming the anti-woke group because they're in support of Cracker Barrel. Now, to be fair, Steak and Shake changed its own image. They went through that. There's a certain amount of, sometimes you got to change the way things are. But see, here is the bottom line. And there's a group of people who need to understand this. For the longest time, when you were white, you were also told, this is before Trump, before anybody, you were also told your how do I say this? Your race doesn't exist. White people are bad, right? White people are bad, white people are evil. There is no such thing as white culture. There's no such thing as white culture, European culture, nothing. You are bad, 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 bad. White is bad, you're bad, you're it. From Christopher Columbus to this, to that, you are bad, 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 bad. White is bad. White, slavery, bad. Evil, bad. And you just took it. Okay. White, angry white man. You know what? I remember one time in the talk radio business, which, by the way, I hope it's coming back if they watch the pattern of WABC and they see what they're doing. Because they're doing it the right way. Anyway. White was bad. White was bad. Well, anyway, all of a sudden, a couple things happened. One was the emergence and the proliferation of social media. And that allowed you to see different things you never saw before. And first, there was a group called, remember I'm telling you this, it is the rise of the bonnet. The bonnet mentality. What is the bonnet? The bonnet mentality, the bonnet it used to be the hoodie. The hoodie is something which is the worst because the hoodie was critical because the hoodie would, how do I say this? The hoodie represent thuggery, criminality. You might wear a hoodie or something, but I mean, people on the street, everybody wore a hoodie, hood. You don't see it kind of as much, but it was, everybody had a hood. Hoodie, hood. And they even hunched over and they looked thuggish. They looked criminal like. Okay, fine. That was the hoodie, the hood. Well, now we have something, meet Carnival Cruise and the bonnet. The bonnet is the symbol of obviously the negress who is violent, out of control, criminal, a certain faction. Not that I've got to say this because I'm so trained, I'm by virtue of reflex, I have to say this. Not everybody, but there are certain factions. Certain factions of the Sicilian American community are part of the mafia. Not everybody not everybody who's a Sicilian American is in the mafia, but the people in the mafia are Sicilian Americans. You got it? You got it? Okay. So anyway, so these people were, and all you have to do is when you're done with this, go to YouTube and put in Karens under arrest. Karens under arrest. Karens, just the word Karen, and you will see. You've seen the Chipotle violence, the violent, normally a bunch of bonnet-wearing, extremely obese, violent, slides, gibberish, spewing, what is this? Throwing things, punching, wigs coming off, falls, bonnets. What is this? And because it is recorded, because there's a certain degree of recordation, which proliferates the behavior, you see more and more of it. It's incredible. It's everywhere. Look what they did at Carnival Cruise. Look what they did to Carnival Cruise Lines. Look at it. We live here in Hell's Kitchen on the west side, and we see the cruises that come in all the time, Holland America. And Carnival, it was known as, drinks and parties, Well, for some reason, they basically told folks, remember they said no hip-hop music, no loudspeaker, because people were acting like savages. Now, when you say that, people say, wait a minute. No, that is a word, savagery, animals, even though animals are pretty controlled. Whenever you see this this riotous behavior, and people knew it, it was just... And they're getting upset because you can't do that. What are you suggesting? They know exactly what they're saying. The same way, for example, they have curfews because teenagers historically sometimes would do things in groups. That's the reason why city parks sometimes close at a certain time. They have curfews. There is this behavior that is, and it's called black fatigue. Have you heard this? And it is espoused also by members of the African American community. Never seen this before. Social media highlighting this. And what happens is it exposes it, replicates it, and then quashes it. When you show something at first, people will replicate it. If you remember when they had the eating Tide Pods, people were dying, the challenges were large in number. And then, look at this. Brasileira says, got lost driving off the GW bridge. White girl in a Benz with the top down, heart racing. Flagged a yellow cab to guide me into Manhattan. Following its taillights through the chaos was one of the scariest moments of my life. Oh my God. Well, Next time you call us, and we'll give you an escort. You got nothing to worry about. And by the way, just to let you know, things are so much better since Trump was president. Trump is the best thing that ever happened. I mean, there's Trump at his worst. 5% Trump is light years better than 100% Biden. I mean, there's no. Things are so much better now. So much better now. Thanks to Trump, these weird, strange folks who were traveling about from all over the world, they seem to be somehow, we don't see them anymore. They were from other countries. They were from other parts of the world. They were weird, strange. This was during that. Anyway, things are so much better under Trump. What he's doing to D.C. is phenomenal. It's wonderful. It's not enough, but it's phenomenal. What he has done for the economy was under tariffs, what he's done to a lot of stuff. He is so good if he's allowed to have, he needs a better staff, a better group of people. Now they're giving him a hard time about his ankles. Oh, for the love of God. He's got some Venus, some duplex, what is it? Some Venus backup. It's nothing. It's nothing. They're doing everything in their power. Anyway, make a long story short. So, recapping. 2 people. Laura Loomer and Fuentes. And what are they saying? Well, they're extremes. But what they're doing is they're reminding Trump, remember what brought you to the game, and that is for the dance. You were supposed to be MAGA, M-A-G-A, Make America Great Again. Remember that? What are you doing? What are you doing? Now, sometimes if you read, people will say, oh, there you go. You're turning your back on Trump. If this ever happens to you, just dismiss these people because they're not paying attention. They really don't understand. And there's always a lot of people who have they have the litmus test too. I'm not a member of a fan club. I'm an American. He's got to worry more about pleasing me than I pleasing him. That's the way that works. Whether you want to realize this or not, it's the truth. Period. End of discussion. Donald Trump was the only choice there was. He was it. There was nobody else. There was no. And I know you're probably going to, a lot of people say, oh, they got J.D. Vance. I don't trust J.D. Vance at all. Why? Palantir, Peter Thiel. They don't even know what I'm talking about. So that being said, what Laura Loomer is doing, which I like a lot, and others, is she's bringing up the fact that there is a group of people, there are a bunch of Trump quizzlings and ne'er-do-wells in the mix who are not to be trusted. And they are indeed that way as well. They are indeed that way. And there are folks like Nick Fuentes, who I think goes a little extreme, but he reminds you of this. What brought you to the game? Trump is still, at his worst, he's better than anything anybody's ever seen. So don't ever confuse yourself with that. But there are a lot of people that say, first of all, America first. What does America first mean to you? What does America first mean to you? How about America only? Anybody? Oh, yeah, America first. What does that mean? Do you like the money we're pouring to billions of dollars in Ukraine and Israel? You like that? I know. Marjorie Taylor Greene's 100% correct. MTGs, they should either be, first of all, you should be recognized, you should be registered as a foreign agent. And what you're doing is you're not representing America, you're representing something else. Absolutely, positively, 100%. 100%. You understand this? It's America only, period. We're about 850 or so bases in 70 or so countries. The voice of today, when it comes to foreign, that I love is Judge Napolitano is superb. Jeffrey Sachs, Colonel McGregor, Douglas McGregor, phenomenal. Scott Ritter, phenomenal, superb. Doctorow's terrific. Alistair Crook, Larry Johnson, go down the list. Pepe Escobar, superb. I'm finding myself finding that when it comes to the issues of the Middle East, specifically Israel, I'm finding myself in agreement with people like Katie Halper and Abby Martin and Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg's 100% correct. It's like, oh my God, this is the weirdest thing. Most people do not understand how the tides have shifted. It's incredible. Next, we're going to get to the bottom of 9/11. Maybe sometime soon. We'll see. This is all thankful. First of all, Donald Trump, number one, but also it was important because it was Elon Musk. What am I saying? Elon Musk. Elon changed all of that. So what I'm trying to tell you, my friends, is simply this. If you think your job is sitting there saying, I love Trump, I got my Trump, I got my Trump thing here. In fact, how great? We got two of them. I got all my memorabilia. Ooh, I got all my stuff here. Here's my little Trump Christmas ornament. I've got all kinds of stuff here. I've got my Trump. See my stuff back? You can't see it, but love the guy. Wonderful guy. He's terrific. He needs to get a lot better. I'm an American. I'm not a Trumpian. I'm not a MAGA. Let me also tell you something. There's this belief system that somehow those of us in the MAGA, I guess I'm in the MAGA, I don't know. If that's what you call it, that's fine. Anyway, there's this belief system that somehow we are we're kind of a mindset that says something to the effect of that we believe that there are scores of pedos and cabals and groups of all these internecine all right. And that everybody was during COVID, people were not. There's a couple of lunatics who believe in this, that everything is this predator. Okay, fine. And I'm not going to argue against it one way or the other. But what's happening is that you would think now that with Epstein, people would be coming out. Trump is deliberately screwing everything up. I don't know why. You can imagine. I don't want my imagination to run wild, but it doesn't look good. Pam Bondi the other day said, we're going to ask a federal judge to release grand jury information. Should never have done that. Pam Bondi has the Department of Justice information. She could have done this themselves. This is a limited hangout. This was an example of allowing you to think that somehow other forces, other groups are keeping this information from you. No, it's Trump. It's Trump. He can release this immediately, but it's limited hangout. They're giving it. They're increasing. I've done this a million times. I've told you. You're probably sick of hearing of it. Remember, just look up limited hangout. Go to Grok or ChatGPT. Look it up. It will give me examples. The best example of limited hangout, by the way, is during Watergate. They said it's 2-bit. It's a 2-bit burglary. Remember that? It's a 2-bit burglary. They got ahead of it by admitting part of it. It wasn't a burglary. They didn't steal anything. They were going to put things in. They actually brought things. It wasn't a classic theft burglary. It was something else. But the way they did it. So anyway, you're never going to find out about Epstein, ever. Because there's too many people involved. And if you don't think there's an Israel connection, you're not paying attention. There's no hope for you. None. Ehud Barak, Les Wexner, ask people. Whenever you talk to people about Epstein, just say Les Wexner. Who? I said, I got to go. Don't even bother. Sorry. Epstein was part of the equation. Money laundering, the money circus, from Jamie Dimon to this, to Deutsche Bank, to Chase Bank. I mean, it was, yeah, that was a limited hangout. All your focus is on the sex thing. And by the way, the number of actual underage girls was de minimis. Most of those girls were overage, and they recruited each other. And some of these young girls broke down the door to get in. Not that it matters. If you're under the age of consent, you can't consent no matter what. But he didn't go out and pull people into a white van. Don't believe that for a moment. But they dangle this Epstein thing in front of you. Now, some other people are going to, interesting things. You cannot get, you cannot like You cannot substitute personalities for political ideology. For example, there are people who are big fans of Candace Owens. Candace Owens is very smart, very talented, very troubled, very hurt, very damaged, very twisted. She's going to be absolutely dropped. They're going to pound her during the lawsuit regarding Macron. Absolutely. They're going to destroy her. And when you talk to people about that, they're going to say, well, don't you think she's a man? Not even understanding the case. 22 counts, that's just one. They don't even see, because remember something. The people you're talking to don't know what they don't know anything about the facts of the case. They're like drive-by double park knowledge. They don't really understand it. They think they do, but they don't. Nobody reads anything. Nobody cares. She's going to get pounded. And then they're going to go after Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon and all these other people who are the big names who had her on. So it's a very complicated thing, because believe it or not, whether you realize it or not, censorship is still a big deal, and they're going to use lawfare in reverse to go back. That's why Laura Loomer the other day, you see, Laura Loomer was on during her lawsuit against Bill Maher. She brings up the fact that Lindsey Graham is gay. I love this. I just thought that was funny. Gee, surprise, you think? I don't know. You don't know. None of us know. Might suspect. Say people who think that Michelle Obama is a man. There's no evidence of this. I heard somebody say, well, I've seen some pictures. Those are doctored, fool. What are you talking about? But I like open-ended. I like all kinds of talk. But the thing is, they're being lured into this particular avenue, this particular area of discussion, and then they're going to just cut it off, because they lure you in, and then they got you. So be on the lookout for that. If Brigitte Macron is successful, mark my words, it's going to be Michelle Obama. And people hate Michelle Obama because, plus, her podcast just doesn't help with her weird brother and that strange, whatever. She's just weird. In any event, so that's where we are. It's a great and noble time. So just remember, we have the best president we've had in, I don't know. He's the best president of my lifetime. This is Trump, the best. Not Kennedy. That was a different time. Come on, 62 years ago, nobody. But in modern times, he is without peer. They're going to do everything they can. We are winning so much, but we need more. He needs to be more ruthless. He needs to get rid of this dead weight, like that little boy, Dan Bongino, who wants to be a big shot, and Kristi Noem, who wants to be sexy, and Carrie Lake. Well, look, you don't hear from anymore is Kimberly Guilfoyle, Don Jr.'s old flame. She's in what? Greece? She's the ambassador to Greece. Oh dear God! Notice how Mike Huckabee's been quiet too. Israel's going to flip like that. People are going to be turning back their AIPAC money before you realize it. This is cataclysmic. And trying to explain this to most people. Next, I hope we see something about UFOs. Hope we see something about geoengineering, which you call chemtrails. And we finally get to the bottom of 9/11 and to explain that fraud. Absolute. That's the biggest bullshit anybody has ever seen. Ever. And of course, nobody knows anything about it, because that involves reading, because we sit back in our beanbag chairs and we expect people to just throw stuff at us. We're not going to research. We don't research. We don't read. If you want to tell me something, fine. Show me a video, kind of like Reagan. Show me a video, I'll understand it, and that sort of thing. So anyway, Carla, thank you so much, our dear friend. Brasileira Mama, thank you so much. Brasileira Bia, excuse me. Or Mama, depending on where you're from. Thank you so much. By the way, follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Did you see our little walk talk yesterday? We did one. It was a beautiful day in New York City. We walked around the West Side, chatting and talking about everything. Follow what she's doing regarding the Black Poster Project, fighting against fentanyl, fighting to protect children. Don't forget also Tuesday, big day. What is it? Birthday time. I expect parades, fanfare, tributes. America celebrates me Tuesday. Oh yeah. Big time. Be on the lookout. I expect a lot of attention. All right, my friends, have a great and glorious day. We're going to be out and about today. We're going to be enjoying the weather and doing some stuff. So until we meet again, my friends, remember, thank you so much. Please remember, like this video and subscribe to Lionel Nation, Lionel Nation, Lionel Nation. And Lionel Legal is our other sister station or channel. All right, my friends, have a great and glorious day. Until we meet again, remember, the monkey's dead. Show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.